Hi everybody. I'm gonna be doing a response video to Crazy 316's video about Carrie Prejean, Miss California, all that bullshit. Um, I already commented on his page. I'm gonna put everything in the description. I'm mostly, during this video, going to be talking directly to this character. I'm going to be basically going through the comments that I actually did leave and adding on to them. So, let's get started. Okay. So, Crazy 316. I'd first like to, again, re-ask the question that I posed before. What if this loaded question that she was asked wasn't about gay marriage? What if it was about interracial marriage? What if this was, 60 years ago and that was the question being asked? Uh, do you think that if her answer had been the same, it would have been just her opinion? Would you be saying the same thing if that was what? Let me actually read what I had written. What if the question was on racial marriage? What if she had been asked, blacks should be allowed to marry whites? Because not too long ago, in our country's history, that was illegal, and a whole lot of the same arguments that are being used against the right to gay marriage were used as an argument against the right to interracial marriage. Arguments such as it being unnatural, biblical references, all of this kind of stuff. What if she had the same response? This is how I was raised. I believe it was wrong for blacks to marry whites because it's unnatural and it's against God's law. Would you consider that bigotry? And no, I hate to tell you, but, and I'm going right from what you said about, like, oh, that whoever it was said that her opinion was not okay. And you were like, oh, no, your opinion's always okay. No, an opinion is not always okay. You always have the right to an opinion, but that doesn't make your opinion okay. Again, just because you have the right doesn't mean that it's alright, that it's an okay opinion to have. Again, I direct you back to the civil rights movement and slavery and all of these different horrible things through history where people, had the opinions that blacks weren't really people, and some, and other examples of this, like, if a parent is under the opinion that they should be allowed to beat the shit out of their children when they misbehave, would you consider that an okay opinion to have? Some people are under the opinion that women shouldn't be allowed out in public without escort. Do you think that's an okay opinion to have? There, there, there are things that are a little bit black and white that we can all agree is not okay. It's not okay. Um, so, what would you know, it's I'm getting off track. Anyway, but all of this aside, oh well, the other thing was the fact that, again, not to mention, in a competition such as this, your opinion is part of what's being judged. Not to mention the part of free speech is accepting the consequences of what you say, including if not especially, the criticism of that opinion. You have to deal with people disagreeing. I disagree with you. You have the right to your opinion, and I have the right to make this video and say, your opinion's fucked up. I can say that. And you can come back at me and say that my opinion's fucked up. But you don't seem to understand that it's a human rights issue. And that your opinion is that certain people shouldn't have the same rights. All of that aside, what you're failing to acknowledge is the fact that the real reason her crown was going to be taken away, or that it was in danger of being taken away, had nothing to do with the comments that she made. She was number 2 runner-up. Whatever the hell happened she was the first runner-up. And whatever happened with the actual Miss California, she was out, so Carrie had to step in. And the reason that that all of this came up wasn't because of her comments. Yeah, she got a lot of flack from her comments, but that's not why her crown was going to be taken away. Her crown was going to be taken away because of the fact that um, she was in breach of the terms of the pageant itself. By A, showing her tits and not informing the competition that these photographs were out there. And you were all, oh, that's a double standard because a lot of people wear bathing suits that are almost okay. You that are could be considered partial nudity. You obviously don't understand what double standard means because that's not a double standard. A double standard would be, okay, she got in trouble for, you know, having previously done naked pictures where you could see her tits. But if there was a male pageant and there was like a guy that showed some tip, that he didn't get in trouble. Or if another contestant was under was in a slightly different circumstance that was comparable but didn't get in trouble. Comparing her being in this competition and having done topless photos to every other chick in America who wears a bikini is not a double standard. Aside from the fact that what people do in their personal life is their own business. She signed into a competition. She signed into the pageant under the terms and conditions of that pageant, including the fact that she wasn't allowed to do that. And the other thing that she did, which she wasn't supposed to have done by the conditions and terms and conditions of the pageant, was she became an activist for the whole anti-gay marriage thing, and joined up with an activism group as a spokesperson, which she wasn't supposed to do. So stop making it like she was a martyr for her, that her opinion made her like a martyr for the cause. That isn't why she had all of this shitstorm coming down on her with almost getting the title ripped away. And just for your information, because I know you're like, oh well, then she didn't, so she's obviously right. No, the only reason that she got to keep it was because of the fact that Trump likes blondes with big tits, and the fact that his pageant paid for those tits, was the only reason she really got to stick around. So, like, you really need to understand, again, and I know that I'm not saying anything new to you, and I know that I'm not, that this isn't really going to get through to you, but hopefully somebody who looks at your page and goes like, oh, well, yeah, I can see how it's just an opinion, and yeah, they shouldn't, it's not a big deal if gays aren't allowed to marry. Maybe seeing it through the context of, again, what I brought up about not too long ago, it not being legal for blacks to marry whites. Maybe they'll look at it in a different context. You obviously won't. But it's really disappointing, man. It's really disappointing that you would not be able to see that we're people and we want the same rights as everybody else. We want the same rights as everybody else. And I'm not planning on, I'm not a person who loves the idea of marriage, but there are people who want to, and then for somebody to stand up there and go, I don't think they should be able to get married. That's bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's a human rights issue, and you're basing it on your religion, and your religion doesn't dictate what other people's rights should be. Because if it did, hate to tell you, you, sir, wouldn't have that many rights. If the religion that you obviously cleave to really dictated the laws, you wouldn't be getting a lot of rights. I'm sorry to say that, but that's what your Bible says. And so you shouldn't be forcing the old school, gross ass Leviticus laws on other people. It's bullshit. And It's just my little 10 minutes of calling you on it. So, there you go.